has just arrived. We are getting these pictures coming in from the airport over there. Prime Minister Modi expected to come out of that Air India plane any minute now. He's there in Washington, D.C. as part of a three-nation tour. The first leg got completed yesterday in Brussels, where he also addressed a gathering of the Indian diaspora. Made a number of points, both political as well as internationally relevant in nature. He is now, as part of his second leg, or the second part of his three-nation tour, has reached Washington, D.C. This assumes a lot of significance because he is here to attend the Nuclear Security Summit's fourth edition. Let's go across to Smita Sharma, India Today's deputy editor. We'll try to go across to her in just a short moment from now. But as we were telling you, Prime Minister Modi has reached Washington, United States capital, where he will attend the Nuclear Security Summit. Summit will begin with leaders only dinner at the White House, where leaders of 53 countries and 4 international organizations will gather to share their assessments of the threat of nuclear terrorism. India is also likely to submit a progress report on nuclear security at the summit. Focus will also be on the looming threat of nuclear materials falling into the hands of Islamic State or other such terrorist groups.
This is part of a Harvard report which was released recently. All those things.
Now let's quickly take you through the itinerary of Prime Minister Modi. Remember, the summit will in fact begin with a leaders-only dinner. A leaders-only dinner at White House, where the President of the United States is going to host all the leaders of the countries who are participants in the Nuclear Security Summit, 53 of them in all, and 4 international organizations who will gather to share, as we told you, their assessment, their entire assessment of the threat of nuclear terrorism. We've got Maha Siddiqui joining us on the phone line with all the latest. Maha, India has been a very strong and vocal participant at the Nuclear Security Summit in the past also. This is its 4th edition. What's really on the agenda this time around?
Well, clearly nuclear terrorism can be one of the biggest agendas at this point, and by that I mean the terrorists getting hold of any nuclear material. This is of major concern, especially since the the Nuclear Security Summit coming on the back of the attack that we've seen in Brussels. In fact, this will be President Barack Obama's final Nuclear Security Summit, and he would want to focus on the threat that the countries across the world could face because of terrorism, and if nuclear equipment falls into the wrong hands, whether they are non-state actors or not. In fact, there are many activists who also argue that aging nuclear plants and weapons proliferation, though, are bigger and issues of greater concern that, of course, the Nuclear Security Summit should also focus on. We will be seeing world leaders gather to discuss this major issue of how to safeguard nuclear material, and specifically at this point from any kind of the nuclear material falling in the wrong hands. This is of major concern at the moment, Sanket, I can tell you that.
Absolutely. And in these pictures we can see that the Prime Minister is now out of the Air India plane. He's being greeted by delegation members of the U.S. administration at this moment. Still not known who these people are. We'll try and get in a whole list of people who gathered there to receive the Prime Minister. There's a car waiting in which he'll sit, and then the engagements for the day are going to begin early morning tomorrow. Also, Maha, if you could tell us a little about the participation of Pakistan at this moment, because when it comes to nuclear security, one of the major concerns that India has is about the nuclear capabilities of Pakistan and what it's actually going to do to safeguard that they don't go into wrong hands. That's a major issue for the country. As one learns, Pakistan has chosen not to participate in this Nuclear Security Summit.
Well, Sanket, Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif was supposed to be in Washington, D.C. In fact, all eyes were fixed on D.C. because we were also expecting that Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his counterpart from Pakistan might meet on the sidelines. But remember that he cancelled his visit to Washington, D.C. after that attack that we saw in Lahore, which killed scores of people, especially children and women who were out celebrating Easter in Lahore. After that, this visit by Nawaz Sharif was cancelled. But there is representation from Pakistan in the form of Special Assistant to the Prime Minister, Tariq Fatmi. But remember, Pakistan, as you are rightly mentioning, is a very crucial factor. We have seen the Republican front-runner for the presidential nomination, Donald Trump, also talking about how this matter of Pakistan's nuclear capabilities is of huge concern at this point because, there have already been allegations of proliferation that we've seen with regards to AQ Khan in Pakistan. So clearly, this is something of huge concern. Also considering the fact that India has time and again reiterated how the Pakistani soil is constantly used to emanate terror, and especially against neighboring country that is India.
Absolutely a big concern for India. And isn't it obvious that India is going to raise these concerns at the Nuclear Security Summit?
Well, absolutely. That will be on the agenda, as this issue of major concern of nuclear terrorism is going to be hailed by all the countries, especially in the backdrop of the Brussels attack. In fact, Sanket, there were reports that the two brothers who carried out the attacks in Brussels, the Bakrawi brothers, they are believed to have secretly filmed the daily routine of the head linked to the head of Belgium's nuclear research and development program. And, with such revelations coming just ahead of the Nuclear Security Summit, it goes without saying, Sanket, that this issue is going to be flagged up by every country, and especially by India, considering that India has been suffering at the hands of terrorism for so long now. It is only now that it is being globally recognized that terrorism is causing so much havoc across the world. India has been suffering this for many, many years, and now India's stand on the issue of tackling terrorism seriously is being looked at. India is being considered as a country which can be consulted on issues on how to tackle terrorism, since we have been handling it for many years.
Absolutely. Maha Siddiqui, many thanks for joining us. And that's a huge motorcade of the Indian Prime Minister that is now entering Washington, D.C. for the Nuclear Security Summit. We're stopping for a short break at this moment. When we come back, we'll go back to our main focus at this moment.
Now, Pakistan captain Shahid Afridi might have landed himself in trouble yet again while speaking about fans in India. Asked about fans in Mohali before their match with New Zealand on Tuesday.
Go to different villages across India and actually stay there for a month and see the villagers, help them. And what it does is it opens your eyes to a whole new part of India that you never really saw before. So Amrita gives